Hello everyone, welcome to the Swarm episode 2, day 3 of the minor. So I'm kind of breaking stuff down during the minor, something I didn't expect I would get to do. But due to the inclement weather we got in the south, I was able to be home this weekend, so I've had 2 straight days being off due to the snow, being outside of Atlanta. Yeah, it's nice to take a break from 12-hour days, but enough with that. So my projections were quite off. It's all right the first day, 3-1, but I lost the surge that day, and then yesterday lost the ultra. So that was my final prediction, was ultra versus surge. So a little quick breakdown on how we got here to the Ravens Optic semifinal match and the FaZe Rocker semifinal match. We had Surge going down to Cloud9 New York 3-0. Very impressed at a Cloud9's performance. Optic, obviously in round 1, 3-0 over Falcons, but Falcons was competitive in the first 2 maps before getting smoked in map 3. Miami lost to FaZe 3-1. I really expected that as a FaZe fan. It was, you wanted that win. So it was very nice getting it. Rocker defeated Gentlemates 3-2. So that took us into Saturday, and we had Ravens and Cloud9 going against one another. Ravens ended up, getting the better of Cloud9 3-2. Expected that one to go map 5. As it was playing out, I thought Cloud9 had a shot to win it. So Ravens moved on to today. Optic 3-2 versus Breach. Really surprised by that one because I don't know how Optic managed to win map 5. I mean, I know it's Search, but they were outslayed by, I think it was 34-25. I think kind of the thing that did push Optic to the hump in that one, they were up 3-0 in the first 3 rounds. So obviously that's how you want to start. They did, in the plant and diffuse department, they wore +1 over over Boston, so I think that's more how they did it. Kenny absolutely shined that series, so I was really impressed with that because Kenny hasn't had those numbers, but I don't think that's more so to him not being a great player. I just think when you're playing with the likes of Dashy and Shotzi and with Hook added, I mean, Dashy's probably the best player in the game right now. And Shotzi, he's having his little struggle moments, especially with that series, but overall, one of the top players in the game. You had Rocker defeating Ultra. That one surprised me, but Rocker's a great team. They're going to be great. They're right there in the middle of the pack, so I expect them, how everything's shaping out now, to be in the top 6 by the end of this major. If they keep performing like they did against Ultra and they're consistent with that, they're a real threat for sure. I think one of the other bigger surprises was outside of the game 5s yesterday, FaZe took down Thieves, and FaZe looked really good in map 1. They just kept holding their margin. Every time Thieves would get back, if you go back to the first couple weeks of the season, FaZe has struggled with starting good early. So when they came out firing in map 1 and they got that big lead, that was impressive, because you have not seen that from FaZe. In map 2, they were dominant there again. I think that one was 6-2 So, no, they were able to capitalize on their first bloods. Their entry points, and then they were outstanding in their post plants. They really had thieves like all over the place. Then you go map 3. It was 3-2. FaZe was up 2-0 in that one. So they got to get better in control. And I think they're going to get a chance to, probably better themselves today versus Minnesota. And then map 4 was kind of the same storyline as map 1. FaZe, were able to stay ahead. Every time Thieves would start making a run, even when I believe it was tied that game, FaZe were able to make the right plays at the right time. And that's something they did well against Thieves the first time in their series in the respawn outside of map 1. So I was really impressed as a FaZe fan. That's something we want to see. That's something we expected to see, especially with the talent on the roster. But again, this is probably the most talented Call of Duty league so far. Since probably you go back to the first year with the 5v5. Sure, I kind of miss the 5v5s a little bit, honestly. But then you have bigger maps too, So today we got Ravens and Optic at 4:30, the second match of the day. And the first match of the day, you got FaZe and Rocker at 3. Let's break down this a little bit, the matches. So we'll start with the FaZe Rocker match at 3 o'clock today. Right now, Minnesota's coming in with a 2-2 overall Major 1 qualifier record. Minor 2, send it 2-0. And overall, they'd be 4-2 right now. FaZe, 1-3 in Major 1 qualifiers, 2-0 in the minor, brings them to a 3-3 record overall. So I guess let's talk about vetoes a little bit in this one. I really see the most likely vetoes being in hardpoint. Minnesota's going to have to choose between Skyline and Protocol. They're playing one either way. I could see FaZe probably banning Hacienda, most likely. Or Vault. I think Vault, FaZe is 1-1, Minnesota's 2-0. FaZe does like to test the water against teams. Like, they'll play them on their best maps. They don't shy away from it. But I think Minnesota will veto Skyline or Protocol. FaZe is 2-1 in Skyline overall. And then in Protocol, FaZe is 3-1. So, most likely, I think we'll end up seeing Skyline versus Protocol. Even though Protocol is probably more ideal for Minnesota to play, being that's their only win between the two maps. Sorry, y'all. I like FaZe in this one 3-1. I think it comes down to the S&Ds, or in the first S&D. If FaZe can take map 2, I can see them winning either map 1, 3, or 4. Map 2 is the one, if you're FaZe, that's the one you want. And you ban Hacienda because Minnesota looks good on Hacienda. Minnesota, I think they'll end up banning Skyline for S&D. Even though they're 1-1, FaZe is 2-1. I don't think they want to get down there and freaking battle it out with FaZe on Skyline. I just don't see it right now. I do think Protocol will be the control plate in this one. I think Vault most likely gets banned. And even though there's Hacienda in the rotation, I just see Protocol being that map. I think the key in this series is going to come down to Simp turning it around. Because from that Thieves match yesterday, he had an average performance. He was 75 and 80 with a .94 KD. In map 3, he was minus 12. That was in the kills department. So I want to see Simp step it up in this, but I also want to see Abeezy continue what he was doing yesterday. You know, pretty much dominating in the respawns and had a outstanding map 2. Celium was very huge yesterday, and that was the performance Celium hasn't had this season. He was 90 and 76 in the KD department, 1.18. I mean, map 3, 34 kills from Celium. That is huge. Like, that came on Protocol. So, if Protocol is the one played today, I do like it, and I think Celium replicates that performance from yesterday. From the Minnesota side, I've been on this. I said Esriel and Paul X needed to step up. So far, Esriel stepped up. Paul X, he had a .82 KD in the Toronto match, 74-90 overall. Not good when you're looking and going to play in FaZe today. So that is, someone very similar with a lot of talent on their roster. Guys that can gun. So Paul's got to step up if Minnesota wants to have a chance in this today. Geo, consistency. Nero, I mean, he's Nero. He's a stud. So, but I think Paul X doesn't make those adjustments today, and I see FaZe taking this one 3-1. Not because I'm a FaZe fan. That's how I see it. I think Paul's a definite weak link right now for Minnesota, and they've been able to win so far. So that's good. I mean, 2-2 in the qualifiers versus 2-0 right now in the minor tournament. I mean, they got a winning record right now. They're 4-2. So, yeah. So that's it. 3-1 FaZe for sure. As I go into the Optic versus Royal Ravens match today, Optic 3-1 in Major 1 qualifiers, 2-0 in the minor, 5-1 overall. Carolina 4-0 in the Major qualifiers, minor they're 1-0. They're the only team that had that bye that went through to today. But again, they played Cloud9. Cloud9's still down in the rankings. Even though they got that big win for them on Friday, Cloud9's still not there yet. They got a lot of talent. They played very hard in that matchup against Carolina. But I still ain't seen the most out of Carolina, and I think we're going to get to see that today. Obviously, Optic had an easy path against Falcons, 3-0. But with the roster change, I'm not going to say it was too easy. It looked like they were having a lot of fun, too. So, and then yesterday, Optic with a 3-2 against Boston. Talked a little bit about Optic and how they won map 5 earlier. Just don't see how they did it, but they did. Ravens. Map 1, Hacienda was very close. Cloud9 got the better of them, 250, 239. Ravens continued their dominance on S&D. Again, 6-2 on that one. Control was 3-2 in favor of the Ravens. Then we had another hard point, and they played on Skyline. It was 250, 233. And then Ravens were able to pull it out 6-5 on Vault S&D. I think the most likely vetoes today are going to be Red Card and Hacienda for hardpoint. I think on S&D we're going to see Skyline and Red Card banned. And I do think we'll see a protocol ban on Control. Both teams right now currently are undefeated on Hacienda, Protocol, and Vault S&D. Protocol and Vault Hardpoint, they both have, they're 50-50 on it right now. So, again, I think for Hardpoint, Hacienda red card get vetoed. I think red card and Skyline get vetoed in S&D, and I do think Protocol is the control veto. Dashy's been phenomenal. He had a 1.35 KD in the Vegas match, followed up with a 1.11 KD against Boston. He struggled in map 3 yesterday and 5. He was minus 10 in the kill department in control, and then he was 3 and 10 in map 5 against Boston. But he is on a hot spree in Hardpoint. I mean, he's been over 30 kills 3 times this tournament. So all 3 Hardpoints they've played, he's been over 30. Hook had a good performance yesterday with a 1.16 against Boston. He led the way in KD, and I think we finally got to see Kenny. Kenny was phenomenal yesterday. He was the reason why they won map 5. If you want to break it down from a player only, who was the guy that won map 5 yesterday? It was Kenny. Shotzi was under a 1.0. He was sitting at a 0.9 yesterday. He really did not find his rhythm in the match. I think he really struggled in map 2 and map 5, so both searches. Shotzi's going to have to perform better today for them to get past Ravens. I think he will, but I do want to see that consistency from Kenny start to catch up, because I think Dashy, Hook, and Shotzi have been the more consistent out of everyone. For the Ravens, I think TJ is going to have to put that team on his back again today. He had a 1.2 yesterday in the Cloud9 match. Had 109 kills. 109 kills, plus 18 in the KD department. Slasher was, still Slasher. He's probably the most consistent player, him and Dashy, in the league right now. So I'm going to go Slasher and Dashy. I'm going to love to see that matchup today. Vivid, still struggling. I mean, he was minus 6 in map 1, minus 5 in map 3, minus 4 in map 4, and in map 5 he was minus 2. All that in the KD department. So really, Vivid's gonna have to perform well today for them to get over Optic. I think Vivid's gonna have to step up. I think it's too much on TJ right now to have to put a performance like he did yesterday on his back, especially against the talent from Optic. Said I'm big. I think Dashy's the best player in the game right now. Hook is that added piece where they believe like he was the best player outside of the league out there, and he's proven it. He might have been, started off good in his first map when he came in, and then kind of slowed in game 2, but turned it around. Vegas 1.04 KD, 56 and 54, and then yesterday 85 and 73. So Hoop the nuke, baby. Hoop the nuke. I like Optic 3-2. That's my prediction today. Optic 3-2. And I think it comes down to Shotzi making more plays and the S&Ds. They got to take one of those, though. Optic has to win one S&D versus Cloud9. And I'm almost certain it comes down. So if they were to drop both S&Ds, I'm going to go favor of the Ravens. But I see Optic taking at least one of the S&Ds, so 3-2 Optic. Yeah, baby. I like it. So then we're going to have a grand final matchup in the Minor 1 tournament. FaZe and Optic. That's lovely. Like, you'll love it. Like, if you are a fan of Call of Duty, this is who you want to see. You got the team that won champs last year minus Pred right now. And then you got FaZe that won the World Cup. So both teams kind of similar paths right now. FaZe struggled mightily, in the qualifying stages early. Optic had the change with Pred and who, that whole situation. I hope everyone's doing well. I hope Pred's doing okay too. Yeah. So I guess I'll give you a little prize pick analysis too for today. So I really like Vivid over 5.5 in map 2. Map 3, I like Draza over 24.5. I like in map 2 Kenny over 6.5. And then I do like Ezreal over 24.5 in map 1. And then also Paul X. I like the under in that for map 2. You could probably go under with Paul on absolutely everything today. I think he struggles, but I would avoid map 1. I would avoid the map 1 projection because I think they got him at 23 right now. So if I'm not mistaken, let me check real quick. Map 1, Paul X, he's at 24, so yeah, I would avoid that one because he has been a little consistent coming off, in map 1. He's kind of like between the 20, 22, 26 kill range. I would avoid that one. I really would. But any other map today, I would take Paul X under. So anytime you see Paul X, I would take him under. Probably even for, I think he's at 53.5 for maps 1 through 3. I would take that under. Abeezy, I like him over 26.5 in map 3. Same thing for Abeezy. I think you're kind of in that safe point where you could take him over in everything. Map 1, you might want to shy away from it because we don't know what we're going to get. I kind of like seeing what happens after the first map, or how, the body language, how they look on camera, and, how their gameplay is actually turning out. So I do like to see map 1s kind of go before I make projections. But I do like Abeezy over map 3, 26.5. Map 1, I kind of said this earlier. Dashy is averaging over 30 kills in map 1 in this minor. In this minor tournament, he is averaging over 30 kills. So 28.5, he says at that threshold of 1.5 under 30. I do like Dashy over 28.5. And then I also want to go TJ in map 1. I like the 26 right now. Because like I said, it's going to come down to Carolina and being able to get TJ going for them to go, because you're relying on Vivid to step up. So I think today TJ comes out firing because he knows that's what he's got to do. 26 is a good number right now for TJ. Don't understand why he's the lowest on Carolina, right? Or lower than the top player on Carolina for kills in map 1. Off the Prizepicks projection. Let's see. I can do just one more note. Yeah. Narrows 28.5 for Minnesota right now in map 1. I would shy away from that one because I think the way FaZe started yesterday, I don't know, map 1's kind of Abeezy 28. I like the over on that for map 1. Vivid 24.5. He's kind of that same guy too. He's between that. I guess he's between the 22 to 26 range too. I'd avoid Vivid for map 1. Map 2, Draza's at 6. That's good value right now. I like Draza to at least get 6, probably 7 in map 2. Paul X, like I said earlier, his map 2 under 6. And then Geo, I think Geo is going to be the guy you would see go over 6.5 in search for map 2. So I like the over on him as well. I do like the Dashy over 7. And right now, Shotzi's sitting at 6.5. And look, I'm going to favor the under in this one just because of how he has played so far this minor. He hasn't popped off yet in search. So he's kind of in the 50-50 range right now for 6.5, but I like the under. I think 5, maybe 6 is what he gets. I don't see it over. So that is another map that you can look at. Map 2, Shotzi under. If you're an under guy, he's probably the one you want to go under on. Kenny 6.5 on map 2. I like the over based off yesterday. Think he continues today. And then they have Vivid at 5.5. But listen, map 2, take that over. Vivid still can shoot, and I think FaZe is going to get into situations where he might be the cleanup guy. You know, he might be watching Glenn or T running through and getting one, and then Vivid's there for the trade. So map 3 right now, Abizi 26.5. I like it over. Celium's 24. That one's over. You could probably even pair him up for a potential nuke. Celium map 3 and Paul X map 2 under. I think that's a good nuke. I think that's a really good nuke, especially right now. 24. Celium had 34 yesterday, and I don't see this being a 3-0 map 3. I think I'd shy away from Minnesota map 3. Map 3 for Optic. Shotzi, 26.5 over. 26.5 over for Shotzi. I think Hook 2, 23.5. I like the over on that one as well. And then map 3 for Carolina. That's going to be a tough one. If you want to go with anyone in this one, I would say probably go TJ over for map 3. Everyone else, you could probably make a case for Slashers 24.5. I would probably shy from that one. Gwen 26. He's going to be that 50-50 guy again. 26. I would take him over if I was placing him on my slip. You know, of course, I'm not a whole expert at Prizepicks, but I do have a pretty good track record of what I've been able to accomplish. I've won 593 lineups. So, yeah, Call of Duty is my thing, you know, when it comes to when I do make bets. But again, you know, bet responsibly if you're going to do so. And don't, you know, money management. That's going to be the thing. You say you don't have to bet on Prizepicks, but there is a way to play daily fantasy and get paid. So, but anyways, so today, quick rundown: 3-2 Optic over Carolina, 3-1 FaZe over Minnesota. Grand final for the Minor 1 tournament. We're going to take FaZe 3-2. Abizi again. Abizi is going to do it. Shotzi struggles in that one too. I'll see you on the next episode of The Swarm as we go for number 3. Peace.